Rhea Ripley, Mommy, whatever you want to call her, she's one of the most dominant and captivating forces in all of WWE. She's held multiple championships, broken down barriers, and continues to redefine what a top-tier superstar can be. But what if I told you that Rhea Ripley is on the verge of doing something truly unthinkable? Well, we've seen her conquer the women's division, stand toe-to-toe with anyone, and command the Judgment Day. Well, the original Judgment Day before Liv Morgan came involved. But there's one move, a potential storyline, or an achievement so audacious that it would genuinely shock the WWE fan base to its core, and it's something that Rhea Ripley is uniquely positioned to do so. With Money in the Bank on the horizon and her dynamic with the roster, what could do something that is truly unthinkable for Rhea Ripley? It throws her into even more of a legendary stratosphere. Is she eyeing a prize no woman has ever seriously contended for before? Or what is it that she's going to go after? Well, it's not necessarily a championship, and it's not necessarily a situation in which you can put your thumb on. So I don't know if you guys heard this, but I thought this was interesting. So Kevin Nash, WWE Hall of Famer, he is known to speak his mind on his podcast. Click this, okay? I cover for 411 Mania and Wrestling News Scout. And he can be pretty outspoken sometimes. And he believes that Rhea Ripley possesses a rare combination of athleticism, psychology, and star power that separates her from her peers and could potentially allow her to compete against male stars. Now, we've seen her dish it up and mix it up with male talent before. He thinks she can do so again. While speaking on his Click This podcast, Nash didn't hold back about his admiration for the former women's world champion. He said this: Rhea is so athletic. She looks like she could go up against probably 50% of the male roster. I love how he backtracked on that. Well, she could go up probably, 50% or so. He continued, I even wrote a note that said that she can work the men's division. The wrestling legend continued his praise, emphasizing Rhea's complete package. She's a star, man. It's tough to put her in the ring. She's super over. She's super everything. Let's talk about the lost art of selling, because Nash specifically highlighted Rhea's selling ability, her talent for reaching or reacting to opponents' offenses, particularly of rare skill in today's wrestling landscape. Oh, here comes the old timer, and this is what he had to say. I said a long time ago on this show that there's so few people that sell, and Rhea can sell. Like, Rhea knows how to sell, end quote. Okay, if you didn't know, Rhea Ripley knows how to sell, all right? She can really sell her tail off, and Kevin Nash appreciates that. He continued, as the former NWO member touched on the psychological aspects of Rhea Ripley's matches, noting that her offense should be portrayed differently than her opponents. He said, a kick from Rhea to one of her opponents in this particular match should feel different and be sold different than a kick from Roxanne Perez to Rhea. All things are not equal, and I think that psychology has to creep into the match. Now, I agree with that, okay? I agree with that. Rhea Ripley is a lot bigger, stronger, has a bigger presence than those in the women's division. So why not just use those attributes? Why not use that to your advantage? I know I would, right? If you had Andre the Giant, or you had the Big Show, or you had China, or you had these larger-than-life characters that are much bigger than their opponents. Well, that was one of the knots on Big Show in WCW. The dude was doing moonsaults and drop kicks and all sorts, well, not moonsaults, but drop kicks in WCW. And it's like, no, you don't need to do that. Brock Lesnar faced that same issue, right? His original finish was a 450 splash, or a shooting star press. And so it's like, no, you don't need to do that. Use your size, use your presence, use what you have. Make yourself stand out, right? Just because you can do a move doesn't mean you need to do a move. And so Rhea Ripley, she's a larger-than-life character. And if you're really comparing her to the likes of the Morton and Alexa Bliss and Roxanne Perez and all these much smaller talents, well, use it. Work that way. So if you get kicked by Rhea, you got to sell it like you got hit by 1,000 pounds. But if you get hit by Roxanne Perez, if you're Rhea Ripley, you honestly should no sell it, right? Like, you get kicked, who cares? You get punched in the stomach. Who cares? You have to be able to sell that. And I think that's where Kev was getting at it. All right. Now, Kevin Nash, he has a very entertaining podcast. He can kind of go on tangents, and so it can be a little difficult to cover sometimes. But regardless, he's an entertaining watch, right? You may not think he's the best in-ring worker, but like if you look at the ability to tell stories psychologically, Kevin Nash is there. He just can't do all the moveset, right? Now, Rhea Ripley, on the other hand, yeah, she can do it all, right? From the talking to the promos to the presence to the charisma to the intrigue. She's got it all. And I think that's why WWE has consistently booked her as strong as they have. Think about it. She's been a star everywhere she's gone. From NXT UK to NXT to the main roster, right? And as 2025 rolls around, I truly do believe that we are in the peak era of Rhea Ripley, where she has gone from, the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs, and she's really transitioned from a mega star to a mega star. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's only a few and far between talents that have been able to hit megastar status. And I think you have to look at it like this. There are levels to this game, and there are even levels to the ability to draw. When you are a megastar, whenever you are mentioned on television, whenever you are mentioned on social media, whenever you are added to an advertisement, or if you're on television or you have a match booked, anytime your name is mentioned, there's a reaction, whether to comment on a social media post, to tune in to a pay-per-view, to tune into a TV show, to buy a ticket to go see you in person. When you start having droves and droves and droves of people wanting to interact and react and participate because your name is mentioned, that's a megastar. It's a megastar. Now, you have to also look into, there are fan favorites on the internet and there are fan favorites in the crowd. And I think that also plays into the idea of who's a megastar, who's not a megastar, who's a poser, who's not a poser, who is the real deal, right? Like, I also think that's one of the issues with Jey Uso right now, where a lot of people are like, oh, the internet doesn't like him, but the fans in attendance do. It's like, yeah. The internet thinks he's a terrible wrestler. He's a one-trick pony. He doesn't belong in the world title picture. He doesn't belong with the world title. And the fans in attendance are like, hey, his entrance is great. We like to yeet. Like, this is a big old party type of thing. So I think you have to be able to really set those two things